don't care if you bloody see my nipples. You make me uncomfortable by pointing out that you can see my nipples. I see your nipples every single day through that shirt because you're a guy who doesn't have to wear a bra.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. Today we are going to be talking about gendered clothing. Now that's a very broad and wide topic to be talking about. It's kind of an umbrella term for anything that comes up in this video. But today we're just going to talk about kind of our experiences and our opinions on basically anything around that umbrella term. So I'm Ella.
I'm Sara. Hi.
I'm Meg.
I am Jeandre.
Hi, I'm Reuben.
Hi, I'm Ella.
Oh, sorry.
And yeah, I think we're just going to start with something that's kind of blown up in the news recently, which is Harry Styles in a dress. Shock horror. Now, what is everyone's opinions on the reaction? Because I'm pretty sure I know the opinions of it initially, which is he looks amazing. But if you disagree, please let me know. But the reaction was kind of what made it so big. Like, tell me, what do you think?
Like, a lot of people are acting like it's something that's never happened before, and that he's sort of like, he looks amazing. I love Harry Styles, he looks great, but people are acting like he is kind of the first man to do that and that he's very like revolutionary and stuff. I think a lot of the time it's actually a lot of black men ignored having done that, and like Harry Styles, suddenly a white man doing it, everyone's like, oh my god, he's so fit, so cool, it's so revolutionary. Like, I think he is amazing and he does look great, but I think it's important to remember he's not the first person to have done that by any means.
It really depends on which reaction you're talking about, Ella, because I think there are at least 3 different reactions from 3 different kinds of people, and one of the biggest ones on Twitter was what you were saying just now. Yeah. What
3 kinds of people?
Yeah, I think 3 types of people, generalizing obviously, were black people, or the black community, probably homophobes, and the good reaction was the white gays, I guess. I don't know, but that's generalizing. That's a bit of a joke, but I think you definitely got 3 different reactions. From his fans was very supportive, and then I think the rest of people were like either, oh no, I hate it, man in a dress, this is what like people died in a war, or it was he's not the first person to do it, so stop treating him as such.
I mean, the reason why it blew up so much is because of the outrage of a lot of people, which I was really surprised at, because like you said, like it's happened before. This is not new.
Linking to Ella's point, Ella T, is that, like, you know, it's weird that, because I knew about Harry Styles, but I didn't really know about any other men doing it. So I did a bit of research before this video, and Billy Porter in the 2019 Academy Awards, he did it. He came out in like a really glittery dress, and obviously he's a black actor, and I never heard of that. Like, I'd only ever heard of Harry Styles, so I think it's interesting. Like, but I mean, I didn't do too much research into the reaction of Billy Porter. I don't know if that reaction would have been, you know, as bad, worse, not so bad, you know, I don't know, but I think it's interesting that Harry Styles got like such a mixed part.
That classic thing of putting a white face on something that black people have already been doing, and suddenly it's revolutionary and cool and everyone likes it, and it's like the first person to have done it kind of thing, when people have been doing that behind the scenes, just not getting the same reaction. But I mean, I still think it's great, you know. No shade to Harry Styles.
Also, I think even if we take it away from like the black thing, I mean, suddenly everyone's forgotten who David Bowie was.
I was gonna say that. I was like, it's since the 70s they've been like in the punk artist and rock and every other music industry.
60s, 70s, yeah, absolutely.
Men have been breaking the gender norms of what clothing they've worn all the time, and they're gender non-conforming. I think there's an artist called like Boy George or something like that.
Boy George.
Yeah. There's just so much history around breaking what gender is and clothing is, that Harry is not the first artist to do that. He's taking inspiration from so many incredible artists in the past.
I think it's interesting that it's such a big deal as well, and that it, like, I think something I was reading recently is about, so you know, for a long time women have been able to dress sort of like men, you know, or in male sort of clothing without that being a big deal. You know, you wouldn't really comment on it if you saw a woman walking down the street in like a man's t-shirt and jeans, you know. But if a man is wearing a dress, that's a big deal. Even if you agree with it and you think he looks great or whatever, it's still a big deal. You still feel like, oh wow, cool, that's cool of him, rather than it just being a normalized thing. Which I think, and I was wondering why that is, but I think from what I've been reading, it comes from the fact that like stereotypically feminine things are things that people feel they should be ashamed of, and like the idea that femininity is not good and not acceptable, and like that, like, so women wanting to be like men is accepted, but men wanting to be like women is not, because of the negative connotations of that.
I've got a little point that links to that really. I remember back in school, boys weren't allowed to wear shorts in the summer. They had to wear, you know, with the uniform, they had to wear trousers. And I remember there was like a group of boys that were like, do you know what, we might all just come in with short skirts, because, you know, girls are allowed to wear short skirts, but we're not allowed to wear shorts.
It was like all over the news, wasn't it? Like quite a few people did do it in like protests. So there's boys all over the country going to school in skirts, and it was great to see, but had some really awful reactions from like school boards.
We had because it was that really, really hot summer, I think, people were doing at my school in 2018. So like all the boys were coming in, like there was this big group of boys that were like the sort of popular sporty boys, came in all in skirts. So, you know, maybe if it had been like slightly nerdier boys, people would have had a more negative reaction to it, which is another thing. But anyway, but like I remember my head of uniform was quite cool, so someone overheard a conversation, like one of the teachers ran up to her and was like, have you seen these boys, have you seen what they're wearing? And she was like, yes, I think it's brilliant. And I was just that was cool, but like it shouldn't have had to be a big deal. Like, you know, girls came in trousers, why is it such a big thing for boys to come in skirts?
I actually had this discussion with Jordan earlier, which was like, my trousers are obviously bright purple, and he was like, that's a bit bright for around here. And I was actually just like, well, what's wrong with me? Like expressing myself and whatnot. And I'm like, it displays who you are, and it displays a lot about your character. And I've always said, like, I understand the thing behind uniforms, but I've always thought, you know, at least allow people to, you know, do whatever they want with their hair, or, you know, let them actually find a bit of their identity and express themselves. Because I don't, you know, when you limit that, people struggle with their own identity, and probably, you know, people that would rather be expressing themselves in a more feminine way, you know, almost adds to the shame of it a bit more, because it's like, well, you know, you have to dress, you're a boy, you have to dress like a boy. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to say that actually you can see how with clothing, how feminism has evolved, because the whole like beginning of like a feminist movement, not like the beginning, but like throughout history, women have made themselves seem more like men, as we just said earlier, and they've put on masculine clothes. I can wear trousers, I can wear this button up, I can present myself in a more masculine way. And then you move on to like makeupless shoulder pads in the 80s, kind of like contrasting kind of things. And now we've come to a point where actually I don't even need to worry about, is it masculine or is it feminine? Like I can use both, I can use either. I'm doing gender non-conforming ways. It's like I feel like what now is happening in men's movement from like the 70s onwards, of them being able to also like choose gender non-conforming, more feminine outfits, it is now coming to a sort of, this isn't just male and female, this is nothing. It is everything and nothing all at the same time. This is whatever we want it to be, because I think clothing is the easiest part of gender to pinpoint as a social construct. Why is something considered more masculine and more feminine? Even like between cultures, as we know, a kilt in Scotland is very masculine, and the equivalent to that is just a bloody skirt. So yeah,
my dad would heavily disagree with you, because he's a very manly man, but also he's Scottish, and he would say it's not a skirt, doll. And it's, I mean, he told me about when he was in school in Glasgow, every Sunday, all the boys would get dressed in the full kilt, stockings, shebang. I don't like shirt. I'm not really sure. And they would go down into town, and apparently they still do it today. Actually, I think it was the University of Edinburgh. I'm not 100%. I should probably start listening when he talks. But I find it really interesting that my dad, who is a very conditioned by society male, is very, very proud of his heritage and very, very proud of wearing a skirt, which is a kilt. But you've got the knife in the sock, so it makes it more manly that there's a knife in the sock.
Well, like I had a real hatred for glittery things. I had like a bit in this time in like the early 2000s, whatever. It was quite hard to find little girls' clothes that wasn't like pink and glittery. So I had some jeans, and my dad had to ply out. They were quite plain, but they had a little pink gem in the button. My dad had to ply it out with pliers because I was so against.
Like de-rhinestone all of these kids' outfits.
And yeah, I don't know. I think I remember one time I was in the park and I was wearing the same trainers as this boy that like was just randomly in the park. You know, when you're a child, you just play with random kids. And then he was like, "Hang on, why are you wearing boys' trainers?" And I was like, "They belong to me, so they're girls' trainers." What a sassy little 6-year-old.
So yeah, I have two brothers, one older and one younger, and I think what's quite interesting is from sort of like the age of like 9 to about like I'd say probably 13 actually, like I had a lot of like hand-me-down clothes, and I'm literally in like like big baggy like men's like old-fashioned kind of jeans, and like my brother's t-shirt, like old t-shirt, and a cap, and I'm literally just like I literally could pass as being like a boy. But I mean, like I was like, I don't know if I was always like that, but then I look back at pictures of me I think when I'm a baby, like I was in dresses, but there's not many pictures really of me as a child in dresses, and I don't know if that's just because I was raised in a family of 2 boys.
It's interesting how it changed, like how you changed. So when I was younger, I was really against anything glittery. I'd be like, no, getting the pliers on the pink sequin or whatever. But as I've grown up, I'm like really into stereotypical femininity or whatever. Like I love makeup and I love like dresses and things, and I feel no shame in that. But I don't know whether it was just that I was a child and that was what was most comfortable for me at the time, or if I had some kind of unconscious prejudice about girly things and stuff, because we are kind of taught like, oh, femininity is weakness.
Nice segue from Ella there, which is, what is everyone's style? What do we wear now? Because personally, I didn't like wearing summer dresses in primary school. I hated wearing skirts and had to wear tights in secondary school. And even though we had a quite masculine blazer with like shoulder pads and everything, we were still a girls' school. And I mean, the uniform was hideous anyway, but the fact that it had to be a skirt. And then when I went to sixth form, I started like wearing more comfortable black baggy clothes, which is like my style. And I've kind of got more and more into big comfortable clothes and under the radar, but I like that. My style is kind of, I could rob a bank or I could look really cool. Like I'm gonna choose, every day I wake up and choose what kind of stealth I want to be. But what about everyone else?
I don't know, I feel like I've never really liked wearing dresses, but I feel like I've always known I like jumpers. And to be honest, I own too many jumpers and too many t-shirts. It's literally jumpers, leggings, or jumpers, trousers, or t-shirt, leggings. But I feel like it took me a while, having been in uniform for a number of years, to actually, there's a jumper, but then there's a jumper. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, it took me a while to figure out what kind of like clothing I wanted to wear. Like I knew my style's always been like jumpers and leggings and stuff, but like for example, this one is quite out there. But like I wouldn't, and I've got like quite bright clothes now, but I mean before I just used to be all black, and I think that's why I don't like uniforms. I think it really does stop someone like figuring out who they want to be and
absolutely.
But I want to say something else, like it's linked to someone else's point and I can't remember whose. I think Ella's, when she was like, just wear what you want to wear, blah blah blah. But like bras, for me,
no, what are they?
I just think literally, I think from what I've been told, I think bras are like a kind of social construct that actually it was formed by men to sort of make the boobs look more attractive. And you think when you don't wear a bra, you don't really get like the sort of push-up look, the sort of like nice cleavage look. You literally like
Sarah, you're going to be the thumbnail, by the way. Just using this.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, bras are kind of like, you know, they're to make your boobs look a certain way. When you're natural, you know, they don't really sit as, I mean, some people have very lucky boobs, you know, they're perky, whatever.
Very lucky boobs. I rub them like Buddha every morning.
Now it's this thing, but like, it's almost, people are offended for, you know, seeing people's nipples through t-shirts. I'm like, that is so natural. And, you know, I mean, I have enormous bazoomas, so I kind of feel a need to wear a bra because otherwise they dangle and jiggle everywhere, and you know, sometimes when I walk they hit me in the face.
I can't with how freely you talk about them. I'm so like, I wish I was like you, but the way you're saying dangle and jiggle, it just makes me giggle like a child.
Like, I mean, there are times when I'm like bent over and I'm like not wearing a bra, I'm like, they look like cowards. Like, you know, I can understand that they maybe don't look the way that they're supposed to with a nice push-up bra, but I'm like, these are my boobs. These are like my boobs in their natural state.
Absolutely.
I really hate this sort of, you know, you have to wear a bra kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't want to wear a bra. But then if I don't wear a bra, my mum says, I can see your nipples, or someone like is like staring at me because it almost looks provocative. And I remember I was on holiday with my dad and my brothers, and I was wearing a dress without a bra. And my dad said, you sure that's appropriate? You're not wearing a bra. And I went, I mean, this dress literally like ties up here. If I wore a bra, you'd see the bra. And then there'd be an issue because you're seeing my underwear.
What's the whole weird thing about seeing bras as well? Like, we're conditioned to feel like we have to wear bras, but no one's allowed to see them or know about them. Like, if you can see a strap, they're like, fuck.
A lot of people are very empowered by having like really good lingerie, like having that pretty pair of underwear, bra and underwear, and there's also a lot of power within that. And then you should be allowed to show off that if you want to, because why have such fancy underwear if no one's gonna see it? Unless you don't want anyone to see it, you only want that one.
Because it's for you.
It's for you. It's just a piece of clothing, and it should have no dictatorship from anybody else. I don't care if you bloody see my nipples. You make me uncomfortable by pointing out that you can see my nipples. I see your nipples every single day through that shirt because you're a guy who doesn't have to wear a bra. Like, it isn't fair.
Gonna bring this up, and this is a good segue, which is talking about gendered clothing and gendered appearance, and the like do's and the don'ts for guys and girls. But we can also tie in what's a do and a don't in society's eyes in terms of professionalism. Like, I know there's a lot to say about that, so maybe it's a different video, but I think the skirts on boys thing, if you think about it, I mean, I know in my opinion, but that's because I've been conditioned by society. It's not professional. A guy in a skirt is not professional. If I saw a guy walk into a business interview in a skirt, I'd be like, he's not serious about taking the job. But that's because I picture seriously businessmen in like a full suit. That's it.
I think also, I mean, I disagree, but
yeah, so do I.
But I think you also have to take into account it's quite superficial, but like a style standpoint, you know. I think if like Gok1 came in like because he's supposed, I don't know, first person that came to my head. If he came into a business meeting with a skirt, he'll probably be styled very well and very professionally. So I think there's like, it's very superficial, but people act like they don't care about kind of that side of it, but they actually do. I think styling does sometimes come into play with professionalism. With certain things you can get away with, I mean.
It does bother me though when it comes to professionalism, because I feel like it is our job to change what defines professionalism, because what defines professionalism right now is so limiting to so many people.
Absolutely.
Like the way we look, sometimes the way we look isn't something that we can fully control. Sometimes it is beneficial for us, like how we express ourselves in our style and how we look is gonna affect the way that we work in workplaces. And it's like, okay, so I want tattoos. I do have tattoos. I don't have any visible tattoos though. My dad has this automatic like he doesn't like tattoos. He doesn't want to judge me for my tattoos, but he just like it's been ingrained in him, and he recognizes it, that it's ingrained in him. But I think he'll be absolutely terrified if I ever got tattoos on my arms. And the fact that is in some places having tattoos on my arms would affect my ability to get job in education, or even in sometimes in medical fields as well. And I think that is quite ridiculous that that like tattoos on one level of appearance is something that is actually so normal now, and in some cultures very, very normal, that it shouldn't be something that affects my ability to get a job. Like when it comes to getting a job, what is needed is my ability, like the skills that I have, the ability I have to do them, and the ability I have to learn, because I think that's the most important thing on the job, is to have that enthusiasm to learn. I don't understand why, if I have tattoos or if I decide to wear my bright yellow shirt, I am suddenly unprofessional.
What's considered professional, basically, like all over the world, is one type of clothing, and I'm pretty sure, someone correct me, but it's a European style of clothing. That I think why does everyone all over the world have to wear a suit? I mean, someone correct me if I'm talking out my ass, but I'm pretty sure that other cultures have their own kind of sense of professionalism, but I feel like the European style of professionalism has dominated almost like the whole of America, the whole of like in Africa. If you're in an office, you have to wear. I'm generalizing. I'm gonna stop talking.
This is where suits originated from. England.
Right.
I think of professionalism. I think of that. And if I was to Google professional outfit on Google Images, I'm 100% sure I know what I'll see.
Just wanted to say, I feel like you can see it the way Western weddings have seeped into a whole lot of other countries. Like other countries take on the Western style of wedding, but then it's so beautiful to see a wedding that's done in someone's, like when they choose to do it in their own culture, because it's a very Western thing to wear all white, because that's the pure and virgin like symbol of someone, whereas I believe in India, that's just professionalism, whereas I think it's in India or even just Southeast Asia, it's red. I think it's red that that women wear in their wedding garments, and it's this beauty of color. And Africa is so rich in bloody colors. And it's not seen as professional, but it's what shows how rich the culture is. And it's sad to me just how not even sad to me, it angers me how colonialism has spread this very Western like culture into so many cultures that they haven't allowed that to spread back into their own the way it should be. Like, we're in a multicultural society, and we should be able to share the way that we do a sense of life in so many ways and accept it for how it is and how beautiful it is and how different it is.
I just wanted to say about wedding dresses. I read something recently, I don't know how true this is, but so white wedding dresses didn't used to be a thing in the UK. It wasn't like a thing about purity. It was I think wedding dresses used to be like as many colours and patterns and materials like as possible to show your wealth and stuff. But I can't remember why, but Queen Victoria wore a white wedding dress, which was like shocking at the time. And
she's the Virgin Queen, that's why.
It became like a thing. I don't know if that's true. I just read that. But
yeah, that makes sense, because Queen Victoria is considered the Virgin Queen, so, and white, it has always been thought to be purity, so I guess she probably started the trend.
Because that's the thing, because everyone always thinks it was white because of purity, but that's just kind of, I think, well, as far as that story goes, that's just a myth that's kind of been developed, and actually that wasn't what wedding dresses used to be about. But I don't know, that'll be worth looking into.
On the topic of wedding dresses, can we talk about and gendered clothing, can we talk about same-sex marriages and like wedding dresses and tuxes at same-sex marriages?
I find interesting is like the obsession people have with that, and like they'll be like, oh, which one of you is gonna, when like two women couples, people being like, oh, which one of you is going to wear the dress, as if you have to be, as if you, even in a same-sex couple, you have to conform to either your like, or they're like, who wears the trousers, who's the man? Like, no, we're both women, thank you.
Like, it just makes me so happy on that point, and proving that point, it makes me so happy to see a wedding photo of two girls wearing like beautiful, gorgeous, flowy wedding dresses, but it also makes me so happy to see two women wear a suit. I'm like
Yeah, like it's what, like obviously if one of you wants to wear a dress, one of you wants to wear a suit, that's cool. But it's about like it's about being just people and being yourselves and wearing what you want to express yourself, like we've been talking about so much in this video, and not like conforming to, okay, one of us has to be the man and one of us has to be the woman because that's what we've been taught couples are like.
Honestly, at this point, I don't want to get married. But if I were to get married, I think I'd get married in like dungarees or something. Like, give me some brightly colored sunflower dungarees and like this like cute shirt with a bow tie underneath, and I'll be happy.
That's amazing.
We were talking about style earlier, and I really like dungarees because they're so gender neutral. And I was like, I don't really care. And also, I feel like even though you don't have to be queer to wear it, it feels like it expresses my queer identity. And I think that's really important when it comes to queer like marriages as well and relationships, of how like it doesn't matter what way we dress because it's like, oh, stereotypically feminine, stereotypically masculine, stereotypically frog, I don't know. People look into LGBTQ plus like identities and they're always like, oh, but you still need to fit into a binary. And I feel like, and non-binary people face this so much, especially, and like in this topic of gender clothing, that is where my head went to first, is non-binary are constantly having to face the world of the binary just because they want to wear whatever they like. People who are non-binary can wear whatever they want, whatever they feel comfortable in, and just because in our societal expectations that is gendered, it doesn't gender who they are. Like, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm expressing that correctly, but gender is super
really important topic as well, considering we're talking about gendered clothing and masculine versus feminine. Obviously the non-binary fall like right in the middle of that, and it's a hard place to be during today.
And that's the funny thing though, but like non-binary falls right in the middle, but it also falls on both ends of the spectrum, and on the outside of the spectrum and inside the spectrum. It that's the beauty of non-conformity, but it's so difficult to find the language to fit it in our daily lives. So
personally, I've always been very like, growing up I was very much like I can't wear women's clothing because it's women's clothing, even though like secretly like I'd see something and I'm like, oh, I don't want that, especially because my mom used to work in fashion, so my upbringing was very like fashion conscious, and so I'd watch shows like Mugler and Prada and stuff, and then I'd see like all the women have these fantastic like beautifully constructed clothing and pieces, and then the men, fabulous clothing, but the silhouette is all the same. And then over time, like as of recently, I've kind of decided, well, if I see something that's women's that I like, and so I like to I call my outfits costumes because I pretend to be a different person each day. So today I'm a little bit goth, but tomorrow I'll probably be like Peach Princess from Mario Kart or something. But like, I think if you think about how it looks on you and what kind of silhouette you're creating with your body, then the kind of gender part of it kind of disappears. Like I have some women's articles of clothing in my closet right now, and I wear them, but they don't necessarily look like women's clothing on me. They look like, I just look like a guy wearing this piece of clothing, and it shapes my body in a certain way that I quite like, that I want to accentuate for that day. And I think people need to, because I think the stigma goes back so much to the point where it's like, if I wore this right now, you honestly couldn't tell it's a different gendered clothing to me. But if I told you, you'd be like, oh no, take it off. So I think that's where I think the stigma is so, it's like taking salt out of sand, you know, it's so like inside people.
Is that a normal expression, or did you just make that up?
I make up a lot of the things I say.
I'm gonna use that.
I'm a poet. Just saying.
Stop.
Yeah. No, yeah, I did make it up. I talk a lot of gibberish, so.
My best friend texted me before Christmas asking me about like how do skirt sizes work, because the like trying to navigate like men sizing and women sizing is so confusing. And he bought himself some skirts and he posted it on Snapchat, and I'm like, you are amazing. Like, it was so cool. It was empowering to me. Like, you don't actually be like, when you see other people dress the way they want to dress, it is so empowering to the younger people of our generation, which is really common in queer identity, but it's but it's also normal. It's also something that affects all of our identities, whether we're on queer or not queer. So I don't know. It was just really powerful emotion to me, seeing him in these really cool like skirts, and I was like, I'm so happy.
I 100% feel that way as well. I mean, when I see Reuben in his in whatever the hell he decides to get up into that day, it makes me happy. And when I asked him about this video,
I bought some new skirts like 2 days ago.
Yeah, but you sent me a video, or like you sent me a TikTok of you wearing them, and like when I say feeling yourself, like it doesn't even begin to describe how confident you were. And watching you made me just like scream happiness inside. Like, I'm just so happy for you that you look that good and you feel that good and you are slaying like motherfucker.
I think men should wear more skirts anyway, because they're just really comfortable, you know?
Breeze.
Unless you have really bad chub rub, then don't wear skirts if you don't want to.
True.
I have an interesting story about that, actually. I am not a skirt person. I am not a dress person. But there was this one time on holiday, I think it was in Greece, maybe, I'm not sure. But it was scorching hot. And my thighs were rubbing together. And I think I had been in the sea in the morning. So like there was like salt on my thighs, and we're out shopping at like a market, and we bought this dress that was like it was really flowy, and my mom absolutely loves all the photos of me that day because I'm wearing this like really cute like deep blue floral dress. I didn't like it. I mean, I was radiating confidence because I knew I looked good, but like I'm not really a dress person, so it felt really contrasting.
I was going to say, do we have time for like one quick point?
Yes, of course.
It's very hard to sell to men, and it's very hard to convince men to do anything that isn't gender conforming, unless it has something to do with violence. If you want a guy to wear a mini skirt, you have to compare it to the Roman Empire and tell them you're like a Roman warrior. There's also men's makeup called war paint. It's makeup.
Yes, I saw that.
What else?
I mean, Scottish kilts, the whole dress comes with a knife in the sock.
I don't know much about the Scottish
they are
culture,
violent people.
But yes. I can see that from growing up with you, Ella. But anyway, but yeah, it's very funny how in order to convince men to do anything that isn't manly, you have to link it to something violent.
That's a very interesting point that I would have never got to on my own. Like that makes sense now that you say it.
Write that down as a topic. We should write that down as a topic on like violence and men in society in general, and definitely have more men on the chat as well.
I'm going to apologize for this video being quite disjointed because people were coming in and out because people's laptops died and some people weren't prepared. Calling out no one. Reuben.
I was prepared.
No, you weren't, obviously, but it's fine. Okay, next time's the charm. But yeah, if you guys have any comments or arguments to the points that we've made, we would love to hear them. We love a controversial. And yeah, email us, Instagram us, everything will be down in the description. All of our social medias will be down in the description if everyone's okay with it. Give me a thumbs up if you're okay with all your social medias being down in the description. Awesome. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Give us a wave.
So you all pretend to laugh.
So funny.
I can kick you off this call, you know, Reuben.